What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of GGS. As you can see, the menu has changed again, and I really appreciate that this game will do that, depending on where you've been in the last time you save in this game. And as you can see, we were in Mr. Gyakuten room, and we're heading into Soseki's room now, I believe, today, where we must encounter Mr. Sherlock Holmes at some point. Alright, we're still here. So let's just go ahead and move. New location has been added. Is this thing on? It is on. Good. It's the same day, unspecified time, Natsumi Soseki's flat. This is, pretty impressive. This choking heavy scent. Is it from these mountains of old books stacked up around the room? I've never seen so many books. Neither have I, of course. Do you guys not have libraries in Japan? Did those not exist yet in Meiji era? In any case, it's pretty dark in here, huh? That's a window, isn't it? Maybe it'd be more accurate to say that it was a window. Looks like it was plastered over with brick and mortar. So this is the flat where Soseki-san lives. By the way, I don't see him anywhere. Home-sama, I mean. I see a cat. Yeah, you're right. According to Gyakuten-san, he should be here in Soseki-san's room investigating. Well, I don't see anything other than a cat, and he's adorable. Oh my, it's one of our homelands Maneki Neko. It probably would have taken up quite a bit of room in his luggage. I wonder if he brought it all the way from Japan. I don't think you're allowed to talk in this case, Naruhodo-sama. Didn't you bring a large daruma, even though it took up all that space in your own luggage? I felt nervous about being in a foreign country and wanted some sort of charm to protect me. I'm sure this Maneki Neko is also intended to invite good fortune. So far, all it's managed to invite is this incident. I don't think you should say those sort of things, Naruhodo-sama. I didn't say anything. Darn these tello eyes of mine. An incredible amount of books are stacked up in incredibly high towers. They're all for studying English, and they all smell like very old books. This number of books, you never have to wonder what to read for the rest of your life. You're right. It's like something out of a dream. To me, it seems a bit more like a nightmare. I bet you wouldn't ever be able to pull out the book on the very bottom of the stack ever again. That gives it the feeling of a once-in-a-lifetime encounter, don't you think? It's just like the spirit embodied by tea ceremony. I didn't expect tea ceremonies to come up at a time like this. Examine the reading table. Right in the midst of this mountain range of books is this reading table. I guess Soseki-san must sit here and read and pet his cat? I kinda wouldn't be surprised if he even had dreams about being crushed under old books. You have a point. It seems like the sort of dream he might have. Oh, on top of this reading table, there's a receipt for an old bookstore. Raggedy Used Books. The customer's name is Soseki-san. And it's dated 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m. That's the day of the incident. It looks as though Soseki-sama, right before being dragged into this mess, bought something at that used bookshop. Used bookshop receipt. A receipt obtained by Soseki-san when he bought something from the used bookshop right before the incident. Discovered in Soseki-san's room. Kitty! Oh, kitty! Oh, bye, kitty. Ah, what a cute cat. Perhaps she's guarding the books while her master is away. She vanished pretty quickly between the mountains of books, though. Looks like a calico. I wonder if they have those here in Great Britain as well. Perhaps Soseki-sama brought her here with him from Japan. Suddenly, I've started missing Japan. It's only been 2 days since we arrived in Great Britain. Yeah, but it's been like 2 months we were on a boat! There's crumpled balls of paper scattered around with English scribbles on them. It looks like the garbage can is overflowing with them. Perhaps he was in the midst of some very fervent study. Or possibly in the midst of very fervently not cleaning. One of the two. I suppose I can't be sure which. Alright, that's it. Here. Hi! That's why we didn't see him. He was off screen. Ah, look there, Naruhodo-sama. That's... How long has he been there? He looks to be immersed in reading that old book. Anyway, why don't we try calling out to him? Oi! Home-sama! Hey! What if it isn't you two? If memory serves, you're... Yes, we had the pleasure of your company on the RFS Alacre. Yes, the RFS Alacre. That's where I believe. You really helped us out with Asogi's incident. Of course, that's it. Precisely, Mr. Asogi. It was that one, the one with the snake, right? Eh? Well, you're not right, but you're not quite wrong either. It's an honor that you were able to remember us. Where... Ah, wait! I rather pride myself at my memory, you see? I remember your names. Miss Naruhodo and... Mr. Susato. No. It's exactly the opposite. Looks like I buggered it up this time. Sherlock, are you for real? Is he real? I wanted to invite you two round to my place the day we arrived in London, but I was accosted by the yard at London Station and dragged off to the crime scene. Well, it was quite a simple case. It took me only 30 minutes to solve. So Soseki-san was caught within 30 minutes, huh? Anyway, thanks to that, my memory of the other case became a bit muddled. A bit? You see, there's only so much information that a person's brain can hold. It's best to forget as much of the unnecessary details as you can right away. Ah, that quote I just gave you was one I said in the book, A Study in Scarlet. I thought it sounded familiar. Could you not go around quoting yourself? Personally, I don't really recall saying it, but the girl worded it so well when she wrote it. Iris-chan, huh? Home-sama, we'd like to ask you about that simple case. Oh? What's this about? That's a rather scary expression you've got. Very well. There's something fun about discussing a case in a dimly lit room like this. Only you would find that fun. But first, we're gonna present the receipt. Ah, that's the receipt for the old books old Hanshi bought, isn't it? I found that yesterday morning. Pretty impressive, isn't it? Yeah, I can see why you're a famous detective. What a careless bloke, forgetting his books at the crime scene after going to all the trouble of venturing out and buying them. So I simply slipped this incredibly interesting read in amongst them. The Strong magazine. What a cunning business strategy. That's Home-sama for you. Yes, indeed. That's me for you is pretty much all you can say. Detective novels are a splendid genre. That's my opinion on the matter anyway, folks. That's probably because you're a detective too, but alright. Here's my armband. Now, just one moment there, Mr. Naruhodo. I may not look it, but I'm a professional. If you'd like me to perform a deduction on that item, it's going to cost you £3. Go on, pay up. Nah, I don't need any deductions. I just wonder if you knew anything about it. I see. So you wish to hear my professional opinion. In that case, it's going to cost you £3. Go on, pay up. Apparently Home-sama is saving up to buy the complete works of Shakespeare. To stand upon a grand stage, awash in applause. As you know, that is my humble dream. That's the first I've heard of it. Alright, good to know that he's a fan of Sherlock. Now let's properly talk to him. Soseki's arrest. This is the flat of the Japanese exchange student Natsumi Soseki-san. You were the one who arrested him, right? As the attacker, responsible for stabbing a woman on Briar Road. Soseki. Yes, I believe that was his name.
But Soseki-sama said he didn't do it. I can't help wondering why he was so suddenly arrested in spite of that.
Now just what's all this about? I haven't the foggiest idea, Miss Usato.
Eh?
Home-san, he looks Susanoo-san right in the eye and feigned innocence. No, I'm not feigning innocence. It seems that you two have the wrong idea here. The wrong idea? I don't recall saying that hunched-over Japanese man was the attacker. What do you mean? To be precise, what Scotland Yard requested of me was... A man fled from the scene of the crime. We want you to expose his identity and his location. The man who fled. A book had been dropped at the scene of the crime. The ownership stamps instantly revealed that it had been purchased from a used bookshop. When I asked the owner about it, I was led straight to this flat, and that is all. I believe there was a used bookshop receipt around here somewhere.
So that means Soseki-san isn't the attacker.
Who can say? There's no way I could know that. But I became curious and decided to drop by here one more time. But there's so many fascinating books here that I ended up losing myself in them. But it's not because I have too much time on my hands, alright? That's the truth. Oh boy. Alright, the landlord, Mr. Garrett. Come to think of it. Have you two met the landlord of this boarding house yet? Yes, Mr. Garrett, right? A retired soldier.
That was my first time meeting a British soldier.
And it was my first time seeing a British maid. But what is it? Pardon me. Seems that you're already aware, but many households in London employ maids.
Yes, that fact was written in an introduction to Great Britain.
Well, to put it in reverse, whether or not one employs a maid determines one's social standing. Social standing. To put it simply, if you have at least one maid, you're middle class. If you haven't any, you're lower. In upper class houses, they have about as many staff members as they have extended family members.
Wow, that's certainly amazing.
In other words, for those who are on the borderline between middle and lower class, it's quite an important issue. Whether they can employ at least one maid. I had no idea. And that's why I found it so interesting. That retired soldier, Mr. John Garrett. Eh? That lovable soldier is hiding some sort of secret. As for whether it has any bearing on this case, I still can't say. What does he mean? This dim room. In any case, folks, this is a rather depressing room. If I were cooped up in a room like this, I'd end up stabbing someone sooner or later.
Soseki-sama didn't stab anyone.
Hey now, I said sooner or later, didn't I?
I don't think that's the issue here.
By the way, speaking of dim, why isn't there a window in this room? Oh, well, I guess you could technically say there is one, but it's completely sealed up with bricks. That's rather simple. Because of the window tax. Window tax? What's that?
Don't tell me that there's a tax on windows.
Yes, that's precisely it, folks.
Huh?
Previously, this country had a tax based on the number of windows one had. those who were struggling financially hurriedly sealed off the windows on the manors they'd inherited. Inversely, those with money to burn crammed their manors with as many windows as possible. It seems they were attempting to curry favor with those in power by paying loads of taxes.
But that's too awful. A room where no light can enter.
Well, due to that, communicable diseases ran rampant. The window tax was abolished some 40 years ago. But there are still remnants of that time in cheap boarding houses like this. I guess Soseki-san must not be receiving much of a scholarship. So it would seem, as far as I was able to find out, this room is being rented out for an incredibly low price.
That must be because it's such an awful room.
We were told that Soseki-san moved in here about a week ago. Yeah, so it seems. But somehow, I get the feeling that this room's incredibly low rent isn't simply because the room is shabby. Well, it has nothing to do with this incident. You needn't worry about it. I'm really curious now, though. To be honest, I am kind of worried. And that's about all I can tell you. Thank you very much, Holmes-san. Ah, that's right. Mr. Naruhodo. I believe you said you were going to become a defense attorney, didn't you? So he remembered that. In that case, could it be that you plan to defend him? The owner of this room. Mr. Soseki, wasn't it? I'm not sure. You're not sure? The truth is, I stood in court in the defense's seat in this country yesterday. Oh, now that's impressive. Your dream came true right away. But I became lost on whether I could really believe in my client. Believe, huh? Holmes-san. Soseki-san isn't the attacker, right? How should I know that? Thanks, Sherlock. But didn't you come to this flat to investigate this incident? Well, that was my intention at first, but there were so many interesting books here that I ended up enjoying some reading time instead. I see. In any case, there are two things that I know to be true. That the Japanese man fled from the scene of the crime 2 days ago, and there's a witness who has testified that they saw him commit the crime. That's all. Oh, and there's one more thing.
One more thing. What might that be?
I'm not sure whether it has anything to do with this case, but either way, this much is also true. That retired soldier of a landlord is hiding something. Gyakuten-san is? You said that earlier too. As of right now, that's the only thing that's really bothering me.
Naruhodo-sama. So far, our investigation has not yielded any decisive clues.
Yeah, you're right. Might be worth looking into Gyakuten-san's secret. Well, I can't prove that it has anything to do with this case. Now then, I wish you luck, Mr. Naruhodo. Holmes-san, he withdrew back to the back of the room. Yes, he's actually back over here again. Holmes-san. Indeed. To be or not to be? That is the question, Mr. Naruhodo. I've never heard such a half-hearted reply.
Let's just leave him alone, Naruhodo-sama.
We are heading into Mr. Gyakuten room. I got distracted for a moment as what I just read on the script, but we'll get there in a second when we get there, because, I'm sorry, it made me laugh. It is the same day on specified time, Landlord Gyakuten flat. Oh, back again, are you? That detective. I forget his name, but is he still investigating?
You mean Sherlock Holmes-sama?
Ah, that... Was that his name? I can't pretend I'm terribly interested. He certainly seemed to be enjoying his investigation. Oh, isn't that nice? Another cup of tea, Joan? So then, did you two end up, What? Joan, be more attentive!
Master, it's nearly time for dinner.
Oh, yes, I suppose it is. In that case, might I ask you to withdraw?
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us.
Oh, come now. I also enjoy getting the opportunity to talk with some foreign youngsters. Do your best. Now, if you'll excuse me. Nah, I don't think we're done with you. According to Holmes-san, Gyakuten-san is hiding something. As of right now, we don't have any clues. I wonder if we'll be able to come up with any somehow. We'll do in a second. First, this was written in the script, and as you can see his butt sticking out over there. We're going to examine Sherlock's butt. It's a very nice butt. What's he doing here?
Holmes-sama!
Hey there, folks! So we meet again! Yeah, like, in a minute. What? When did you... I didn't notice a thing! As you can clearly see, it is I, Sherlock Holmes!
What are you doing here?
I make it a point to always enjoy the sunset in the evening from the window. However, there was not a single window in that pleasant room downstairs. So, you see, I had no choice but to borrow your window. I guess I better be careful with my windows in the evening. Ah! And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. I thought you might soon be finding yourself in need of this famous detective's awe-inspiring mind. What? I never thought I'd be meeting him here again.
So then, Holmes-sama.
The secret hidden within this modest room. These sharp eyes of mine miss nothing, no matter how minute. Mr. Naruhodo, naturally, you're prepared, right? Yes. Let's see if we can wrap things up before dinner time with this famous detective's famous deduction. Are we starting now? It shouldn't be starting now. Okay, good. I'm gonna save that for the next part, and we're just gonna get through this until we get to the deduction theater. Mr. Gyakuten, you may have been an outstanding soldier in the past, but as the landlord of a boarding house, I can't exactly call you first class. Yes, I know everything. And I've come to two undeniable conclusions, Mr. Gyakuten. What? Let's start with the first conclusion. You, away from the prying eyes of the world, are keeping an incredibly fearsome wild beast as a pet. And the other, my second conclusion is that thanks to that wild animal's terrifying ferocity, you lost something you love.
Naruhodo-sama, look!
Gyakuten-san has gone white as a sheet. That must mean that Holmes-san's two conclusions were right on the money. But how did you know that, you ask? The reason is quite simple. I'm king of the beasts of the jungle, known as Reason. Oh? 10 Mother Nature's wild child is no small task. Now then, shall we begin? Sherlock Holmes, Logic and Reasoning, Experimental Theater. We'll do that in the next video. I want to save that all in one big sequence, and it'll probably go over time, but who the frick cares, because it's kind of annoying to have to cut in the middle of that. So we're gonna stop early, unfortunately, but we'll continue this on in the next part of this case. See you guys then. Bye, of course. Do you guys not have libraries in Japan? Did those not exist yet in Meiji era? In any case, it's pretty dark in here, huh?
That's a window, isn't it?
Maybe it'd be more accurate to say that it was a window. Looks like it was plastered over with brick and mortar. So this is the flat where Soseki-san lives.
By the way, I don't see him anywhere. Home-sama, I mean.
I see a cat. Yeah, you're right. According to Gyakuten-san, he should be here in Soseki-san. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of GGS. As you can see, the menu has changed again, and I really appreciate that this game will do that, depending on where you've been in the last time you save in this game. And as you can see, we were in Mr. Gyakuten room, and we're heading into Soseki's room now, I believe, today, where we must encounter Mr. Sherlock Holmes at some point. Alright, we're still here. So let's just go ahead and move. New location has been added. Is this thing on? It is on. Good. It's the same day, unspecified time, Natsumi Soseki's flat. This is, pretty impressive. This choking heavy scent. Is it from these mountains of old books stacked up around the room?
I've never seen so many books.
Neither have Han's room investigating. Well, I don't see anything other than a cat, and he's adorable.
Oh my, it's one of our homeland's Maneki Neko.
It probably would have taken up quite a bit of room in his luggage. I wonder if he brought it all the way from Japan.
I don't think you're allowed to talk in this case, Naruhodo-sama. Didn't you bring a large daruma, even though it took up all that space in your own luggage?
I felt nervous about being in a foreign country and wanted some sort of charm to protect me.
I'm sure this Maneki Neko is also intended to invite good fortune.
So far, all it's managed to invite is this incident.
I don't think you should say those sort of things, Naruhodo-sama.
I didn't say anything. Darn these tello eyes of mine. An incredible amount of books are stacked up in incredibly high towers.
They're all for studying English, and they all smell like very old books.
This number of books, you never have to wonder what to read for the rest of your life.
You're right. It's like something out of a dream.
To me, it seems a bit more like a nightmare. I bet you wouldn't ever be able to pull out the book on the very bottom of the stack ever again.
That gives it the feeling of a once-in-a-lifetime